I've always been drawn to the strange and forgotten corners of the world, those little towns that exist just off the main highway, whispering secrets to the wind. That's how I found myself in Havenwood, a place that seemed to be caught in a perpetual autumn. The houses were quaint, the people polite, if a little reserved. But there was something off about it, a subtle tension I couldn't quite place. I rented a room at the town's only inn, a cozy little place run by an elderly woman named Mrs. Gable. As she showed me to my room, she pointed to the bed. It was pushed right up against the far wall. "Just one rule here, dear," she said, her voice a low, serious hum. "A town rule. When you sleep, you must always face the wall. Don't turn over. No matter what you hear." I chuckled, thinking it was some quirky local tradition, a joke for the tourists. "What happens if I do?" I asked, smiling. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. They were wide and fearful. "You just don't," she whispered before quietly closing the door behind her. That night, curiosity gnawed at me. The room was simple: a bed, a dresser, a single window looking out onto the silent street. I lay down as instructed, my nose almost touching the floral wallpaper. It felt unnatural, claustrophobic. The silence of the town was absolute. Not a cricket, not a passing car. It was a heavy, watchful silence. I must have drifted off, but a sound jolted me awake. A soft, rhythmic scratching. It seemed to come from the center of the room. Scratch, pause, scratch, pause. My heart hammered against my ribs. Mrs. Gable's warning echoed in my mind. No matter what you hear. The scratching stopped. Then a new sound. A faint, melodic humming like a child's lullaby, but distorted, off-key. It was coming from right behind me, from the empty space in the room. I could feel the hairs on my neck stand up. Every instinct screamed at me to turn to see what was there, but the sheer terror in Mrs. Gable's eyes held me paralyzed. I squeezed my eyes shut, pressing my face harder into the pillow, trying to block out the sound. The humming grew louder, closer. It was a sweet yet chilling tune that seemed to worm its way directly into my brain. Then I felt it. A subtle shift in the air, a drop in temperature that made me shiver. A feather-light touch traced a line down my spine. I flinched, holding my breath. The touch was cold, impossibly cold. It felt like a long, thin finger, exploring the back of my neck, my shoulder blades. My entire body was rigid with fear. I wanted to scream, but my throat was closed tight. The finger continued its slow, deliberate exploration, as if mapping my body. The humming was right next to my ear now, a wet, guttural sound mixed in with the melody. I could smell something, a cloying, sweet scent like decaying flowers and damp earth. It was suffocating. I felt a slight pressure on the mattress, as if something was leaning over me, its weight shifting the bed. It was so close. I could almost feel its breath, cold and stale, against my hair. I knew with a certainty that defied all logic that if I turned, if I opened my eyes and looked, I would see something that no human mind was meant to witness. I started to pray, silent, desperate words tumbling through my mind. The humming faltered, and the cold touch retreated. The pressure on the bed lifted. For a long moment there was only silence, a deep, profound quiet that was somehow more terrifying than the sounds that had preceded it. Then I heard a soft, disappointed sigh, a whisper that seemed to come from all corners of the room at once. And then a sound that will haunt me for the rest of my days, the soft, almost silent creak of the wardrobe door swinging open on the other side of the room. And then nothing. The silence returned, heavy and absolute, for the rest of the night. I didn't sleep. I lay there, rigid, staring at the faded floral pattern on the wallpaper until the first weak rays of dawn crept through the window. The moment light filled the room, I leaped out of bed. My body ached from the tension. I scanned the room. Everything was as it was. The bed, the dresser, the wardrobe door was closed. Had I imagined it all? Was it just a vivid nightmare brought on by the old woman's spooky story? I almost convinced myself of it. I packed my bag in a frenzy, my hands shaking. All I wanted was to leave Havenwood and never look back. As I was about to open my room door, I noticed something on the floor. Lying by the leg of the bed on the side facing the room was a single long black strand of hair. It was thicker than human hair, coarse and unnaturally long. And lying next to it was a small, dry brown leaf, the kind that crumbles to dust at the slightest touch. My blood ran cold. I didn't even check out. I threw some money on the knit stand and ran. As I drove out of town, the sun now fully risen, I saw the residents of Havenwood emerging from their homes. They moved slowly, methodically, and I noticed they all shared the same look. Their eyes were tired, haunted, and on the face of every single person, from the children to the elderly, were faint, barely visible scratch marks on the cheek that faced the room as they would have slept. The one part of them that might, just might, be visible if someone or something leaned down to look at them while they faced the wall. I never went back to Havenwood. Sometimes late at night when I'm lying in bed, I hear a faint scratching sound. I live on the 10th floor now. I tell myself it's just the pipes or the building settling, but I still make sure my bed is pushed right up against the wall. And no matter what I hear, no matter how curious I get, I never, ever sleep facing the room. Some doors are best left unopened, and some things are best left unseen. I learned that in a small town called Havenwood, where everyone sleeps facing the wall, waiting for the dawn. Thanks for listening. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe for more Tales from the Shadows. Stay safe out there.